all you Amtrak customers. When you get moving again on Amtrak number 31, the South Branch Potomac Eagle Line with service to Petersburg, West Virginia. Once again, we apologize for the delays we're experiencing on account of the weather. Trees and power lines are down in several places. Looks like we're going to be delayed just another hour. I'll give you any updates just as soon as I have them. I'll get you all on your way. Thank you for riding Amtrak.
Excuse me, I hate to be a bother, but did you happen to hear if they say anything about the train heading south to Petersburg? The Potomac Eagle, number 31?
Nope.
It's delayed another hour.
Another hour? Well, I've been waiting most all my life to get where I'm supposed to. Reckon I can wait another hour to get there. Reckon we all gotta wait a while anyways. I do apologize for bothering you. Didn't mean to sound so anxious. It's just that I most urgently need to get myself down to Gillibed, West Virginia as soon as physically possible because of the visitations I've been having. See, I've been getting these messages. Now, where are my manners? I haven't yet introduced you to my traveling companion. This is Miss Isabella Rainsong. Isn't she a thing of beauty?
Yeah.
You think she's a looker? Just wait till you hear how she sounds. Miss Isabella says she's very pleased to make your acquaintance. I never get tired of hearing Miss Rainsong sing. You know, me and Miss Rainsong, we've been singing and riding rails together for about 3 years now. We've been back and forth across the continent, up and down both coasts more times than I can count.
Wow.
No particular destination in mind, just ride. You know, riding on a train, it ain't like riding in a car. In a car, you're looking straight ahead. You can see what's coming. You look back and see where you've been. On a train, you're just looking out the side like you're watching a movie where the world slowly passes you by. It's like you're on the outside looking in and not a part of anything. It's like you're living on the edge of the world. Living on the edge gives a sense of direction, final destination for a wandering soul. Living on the edge leads to deep introspection. Once it gets you started, you spin out of control. Living on the edge, you tend to lose your sense of mission. What used to look so dangerous and seems to be fine. Living on the edge is a precarious position. Just a little step, you've crossed over the line of the edge. The edge of the world. Living on the edge gives a different point of view. You can see things clearly if you see them at all. It helps keep the space between the old and the new. The things you can't remember and the things you recall. Living on the edge, you catch a glimpse of forever. Makes you wonder what's on the other side. Looking over the edge is a futile endeavor. There's nothing really there, so there's nothing to hide on the other side. On the edge of the world. On the edge of the world, you can see the rainbow's edge. Reach out your hand and touch a shooting star. You can lift up your eyes and see across the universe and know who you are, who you are. the line, the last scene of the show. There's no turning back, there ain't nowhere to go. Ready or not, dead or alive, you're already there by the time you arrive. It's just the luck of the draw, a roll of the dice. It's got nothing to do with who's been naughty or nice. It's the end of all time, where the time for all ends, and the best you can do is keep hanging ten on the edge of the world. On the edge of the world.
Yeah.
Now, by the looks I see on some of your faces, I can only imagine what you're thinking. How can such a remarkable and beautiful instrument belong to the likes of a scallywag like him? I can certainly understand how such a question may enter your minds. I ask that you allow me to make some slight adjustments to your initial impression of the two of us and our association. On the first matter of possession, Miss Isabella Rainsong is in no way possessed by the likes of me, or by the likes of anyone else for that matter. In truth, it's closer to being the other way around, that she is the possessor and I the possessed. Instead, I suggest that perhaps the best way to describe our admittedly unique relationship is to say that she and I are traveling companions. Now, on the second matter, me being a scallywag, well, that impression is more or less true. That is, if you're the mindset that once a scallywag, always a scallywag. I like to think of myself as a reformed scallywag. Though, over the course of my life, I've done more than enough in the scallywag department to qualify for a lifetime membership in the Scallywags of America Club. That much is for certain. I do, however, appreciate any charitable notions you may have and allow me the benefit of the doubt that, despite appearances to the contrary, I'm in fact the scallywag of the reformed sort. I'd venture to say that Miss Rainsong here has been fully responsible for my reformation through the music she's brought to me and the people we've connected with through that music. Miss Isabella's influence has been spiritual, metaphysical even if you want to get fancy about it. She works on me through the songs we write. We must have written a gazillion songs together, or she wrote them and I was a transcriptionist or something like that. I really have no idea. You know, we even have a song about what this whole song transcribing experience feels like. This particular song will be a little easier to understand if you know these two little random factoids that she and I learned on our journey together. Factoid number one, most songs you hear on the radio, they're about 3.5 minutes long, which is the same as 210 seconds if I got my arithmetic right. Factoid number two is something we learned from a doctor, a surgeon, and she was sharing some stories about what she'd seen in the operating room. She mentioned that all the scalpel blades and the sutures, they have numbers with them, like a number 10 blade scalpel. Well, take two factoids, you add them together, you get a metaphor wrapped up in a song. This song is about a number 210 scalpel. It's the length of a song, and it's twice as sharp. It pretty much describes what my journey with Miss Rainsong has been like. The soul surgeon slices down the middle. She says, sit tight, this is gonna hurt a little. With a rib-cracking chorus and retracting refrain, the milk of anesthesia barely touches the pain. The tumor's exposed, but it can't be excised. The cancer runs deep, it's metastasized. The surgeon sees the feeling in her patient's eyes. Just 3 minutes, 30 seconds, the procedure's through. surgeon shakes her head and leaves, nothing more to do. Why cry? The patient told me, why'd you have to cut instead of letting me be? Now I'm condemned to misery. That number 210 scalpel has got the best of me. My weary eyes by the chart by the bed, replacing all the vital signs, our line of notes instead. And there I read, so many broken souls are only fallow ground. Vibrations hit their ears, all they hear is sound. But the open soul resonates with every tone. You finish each line like it's already known, and claim it for your own. And now my soul is chiming in. You didn't write the song, the surgeon doesn't hold the steel, but in the surgeon's hand the tackle can heal. It's a lifelong procedure attempted by few, but take another look and you'll see. The song is just a scalpel. The surgeon is you. At number 210 scalpel brings out the best in you. Blathering on about as a particularly satisfying answer to the question that arose from your initial impression in this Beauty and the Beast mismatch we appear to be. So perhaps the best thing for me to do is to share with you the story of how I came to be the traveling companion of this remarkable creature. It is, I will say right up front, a bit long to tell, and more than a bit easy to take at best. There's a flight of fancy that this here lost soul imagined to be true because I'm, touched in the head or otherwise afflicted by some mental disorder. It makes it difficult for me to distinguish the fantastic from the real. Or, at worst, as a conjured tale whose sole purpose is to separate you from your hard-earned money through some wild, stupid, wild invention. I swear by everything good on this earth that what I'm telling you is what really happened as best as I understand it, and that I'm just as dumbfounded by the whole experience as you will likely be once I tell you the truth of it. That is, if y'all want to hear about it. Here I go yamming on like a fool without bothering to ask you if you got something you'd rather be doing, like sticking your nose in one of them electronic gizmos everybody seems to be hearing. Well, there's no more to life than what you can fit in a little TV box the size of your palm, doing all that snapbooks and instant chat stuff all day long. Instead of lifting your head up every once in a while, see what's happening in the real world. Like this one couple I saw a while back. These two middle-aged ladies sat in the cafe car booth across from me. Each one working on their laptop, talking on her cell phone, doing important stuff, no doubt. Neither one of them paying one lick of attention to the other. After watching them for about 5 hours straight, one of the ladies finally lifts up her head long enough to notice me in Miss Rainsong. She tells me they're on a romantic weekend getaway together. I just smiled, so I'm singing. Hit the snooze button, honey, doesn't matter, rain or sunny, I don't care if the sky is blue or green. Got no doubt that we could find a dozen reasons to grind another workaday day through the mission machine. We never lack for excuses for the race we run. We hit the track and take the cruise, but we never get done. Our agenda's on a bender, it's demanding our surrender and proclaiming that there's no other way. it's true, I say, not today. No, baby, not today. Not today. Well, drop that newspaper, baby, it'll make us both crazy, trying to follow all the tragedy and politics. Sure, we need a good solution for tsunamis and pollution, but they're gonna have to wait another day for a fix. Right now, my only worry is the whistling pot, telling me it's time to brew my baby something hot. And when the sun is finally slipping into something more befitting for a walk along the beach by the bay, we'll find some time to find a way, but not today. Oh, baby, not today. 'Cause today we're getting down to what we never get around to. What to do is be infused about the time for me and you. We can't wait another day, or let the hours waste away. So hurry up and turn it down without delay. Turn the tube up, my love, 'cause we've had more than enough of all that stuff they call reality on TV. The only thing I know for real is your Buddha smile and the way you make me feel when it shines a while. Though I suppose in some scenario you could decide it's time to go, and as you turn to walk away, turn your back gently to say, not today. No, baby, not today. Not today, not tomorrow. Don't you ever, never go away. No, baby, not today. I'm sorry for sounding all uppity about all them iPhones and iPads and doodads that seem to be taking over folks' lives these days. I guess my strung out self is all wound up on account of the fact that these last 4 weeks in particular have been, well, I guess you could say intense. And they got my mind flying every which way and had me very anxious about getting myself down to Gilly Bend, West Virginia, because of the visitations, like I was saying a while back. But it wouldn't make much sense to tell you about the visitations without me first telling you about this Rainsong with me. Otherwise, you might take me for some sort of lunatic. Not that you might not anyways, I'm kind of be glad I'm not like some sort of speed freak. You know, come to think of it, I never have actually told anybody the whole story from stem to stern. I reckon on account of the fact that I've been kind of busy living it. Might help me sort this whole thing out to say it out loud, so then you all can hear and judge for yourselves whether I'm a nutcase or a fool or a charlatan or whether I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to. Seems like we got time anyways. So what do you say I just start from the start and see if we can't get all caught up to here and now? Would that be all right with all y'all?
Yeah.
I'm much obliged. For the purposes of getting to the parts that matter most, let's just agree right here and now that the life I lived up to a point about 3 years ago didn't amount to a hill of beans. Less than that even. I'd say if there was anyone on this good earth who had done less than anything to be of use to himself or others, you'd be hard-pressed to find him. I lied, cheated, abused my way through pretty much everybody who ever crossed my path. I don't think there was a single soul who would have mourned my passing back then, including me. The turning point came at a train station a whole lot like this one. The night I walked into that station, I was on the run from one thing or another. I didn't have a dime to my name, and I wasn't sure if I was going to jump onto the next train leaving town or jump out in front of it. And frankly, I didn't give a damn one way or the other. Pardon my French, man. The place was dead quiet. Not a soul in it that I could see. Just one train was scheduled to come through that night. Kind of makes it hard to slip on a passenger train unnoticed when you're the only one getting on. So at that point, the odds were decidedly in favor of my head becoming an Amtrak hood owner within the hour. It was as dark a moment in my life as I ever hoped to have. Anyways, right about then, I finally clued into the wah, 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 wah. The station master kept repeating over the PA.
With the traveling companion of Miss Isabella Rainsong, please meet her in the passenger waiting area.
Now, I'm standing right in the passenger waiting area, and like I said, there wasn't a soul anywhere in the place. You understand, I wasn't exactly in a socializing sort of mood, so I didn't mind to make myself scarce before Miss What's-Her-Name's friends come strolling along. I walk out, start walking out, bam! Tell the truth, first time I laid eyes on her, I wasn't even sure what I was looking at. I didn't know thing one about guitars, but this instrument in front of me was prettier than anything I'd ever laid eyes on. That first touch was like a first kiss. I swear, it's like she plugged herself into my spine and sent electricity into all my fingers and toes. I'd never felt anything like it. And I'm telling you, it took my breath away. I still feel it now. Not quite as intense as that first time, but it still feels amazing holding Miss Rainsong in my arms. That's about the time that I noticed the envelope stuck up on there on top with a clip. Found out later they call this thing a capo, like the bite off my nose. So I take a peek inside. There's a letter. Hello, traveler. My name is Miss Isabella Rainsong. I'm very pleased to make your acquaintance. Over the years of riding the rails across this fine land of ours, I've found the journey much more magical when shared with a companion. Don't you agree? Well, I can tell you for certain, I most definitely did not agree with the notion of having a travel companion, at least not back then. In my experience, you know, I've been traveling all over the place. Usually, my form of traveling was, you know, solo mode of transit. You know, loads to be weighted down with things like companions and belongings. So, I'm mulling over this strange note, sticking it back in the envelope, when I notice it contains something else. A ticket. This ticket entitles its bearer and one traveling companion unlimited coach class passage on the Amtrak rail system throughout the continental United States of America.
Wow.
That's it. No restrictions, no expiration date. Looked real enough, printed up all fancy. But I couldn't imagine it was actually a bona fide ticket, you know, more like a souvenir or something. Still, I figured it'd at least be good enough to get me onto the train before they'd be on to me. By that time, we'd already be on our way. Sure enough, we're nothing at all hopping on the train. Station master didn't say boo to me as I walked past him on the platform. Seems like the train barely came to a stop as I boarded. Lickety-split, we was on our way. So now, they'd have to drop me off at the next stop once they saw my bogus ticket, which was fine by me because I already had a plan in mind. That plan was a pawn shop. This guitar must be worth a little something. Figured I could at least get enough for a decent meal and a bottle of troubles be gone from the liquor store. I'll tell you what, it pains me to admit I ever carried such a thought in my mind, even for a minute. But that whole notion blew right on by when the conductor steps into my car. This scowl of a rickety man starts clickety-clacking his little hole puncher like it's making the train go. Tickets! Tickets, please! Now, he must have known full well that I was the only new passenger getting on board, but he seemed to need to make a big production out of checking to be sure everybody was accounted for. He's halfway down to my row in the middle of the car, and already I can feel my heart pounding like it's going to pop right out of my chest. Now, you have to appreciate that by this point in my life, I had elevated the bold-faced lie to a fine art. I was in the habit of making stuff up on the fly for no particular reason other than to exercise my craft. I could to look you straight in the eye, tell you I'd made my first million before I turned 25 and was starting up a new can't-miss venture, or that I was a traveling preacher, glory to God, and was on a mission to save starving children in inner Congolia and have you believe in every word. And pulling out your checkbook. Let's just agree that I was not unfamiliar with having property of ambiguous ownership in my possession. So it's fairly uncharacteristic of me to be breaking a sweat over this little finders keeper situation. This fella coming up the aisle didn't know me from Adam, but I felt like he was zeroing right in on me and was going to punch me full of holes with that ticket thing of his. And every step closer he took made me shake. By the time he gets to my row, I was ready to confess every awful thing I'd ever done, and even ones I hadn't. And I'm completely mystified about what was getting stuck in my crosshair, which just served to add to my general state of agitation. Ticket? He stares me down with them watery hoot eyes of his. This would be your first use of the ticket. He holds a ticket up in one hand and his hole punch it in the other. He punches a hole in the air and then hands the untouched ticket back to me. Humph! And with that, he turns on his heels and heads to the next car, not even bothering to check anybody else's tickets. And just as he gets that past the door, he says, "She prefers a window seat," and walks out. Well, that's it for me. By that point, I'm on full tilt. Felt like I was in some sort of Twilight Zone episode where everybody's in on the joke but me. I was getting off that train, even if I'm jumping off. Get out of my way, you pieces! Ow! Dang it! This one speck of blood shows up on my thumb. I watch it grow, and after a spell, it turns into a drop. And as I'm looking at that drop, it's like I can see inside it. Deep inside are a bunch of little images of my life. Hurts from 1,000 dark moments. Both hurts done to me, hurts done by me, all mingled together. That one drop of blood falls off my thumb, right into Miss Rainsong's sound hole, deep into her black heart. All of a sudden, I started feeling sort of woozy, to the point I had to sit myself down. In another minute, I was out cold. Somewhere during that death's doorstep sleep, I had a dream. It's so vivid. It's like I can reach into my mind's eye and touch it. I'm standing at the county fairgrounds, a stone's throw from where I grew up. There's a banner overhead at the entrance for the carnival that used to come through every summer. Except the whole place was empty, but for one attraction. Carnival barker calls across the field, come try your luck, come spin the wheel, spin the wheel, spin the wheel and a better deal, play the get a life lottery. Step right up, give it a spin, trade a tired life for a brand new skin. You could be the Queen of Sheba, win the Nobel Prize, be a famous supermodel, see your fortunes rise, be a great tribal leader on the African plain. Just think about all you can gain, but you gotta spin the wheel, spin the wheel, spin the wheel and a better deal, play the get a life lottery. Check out that ticket in the palm of my hand, keep this lackluster life, I find the promised land. I step up to the marker, take a deep breath, trade my ticket with the barker for a happier death, and spin the wheel. I spin the wheel. History of humanity churns away. Millions die in misery or never last in a day. Slavery, suffering, pain and disease, the masses through the ages have succumbed to these. As the growing wheel slows and sinks in what I've done, the odds are doing better than me. His eyes wide, not prepared for the worst. He says, all my years standing here, this is a first. He hands me back my ticket, it's too good to be true. He says the new life he planted is you. Now, what you gonna do? I woke to a blinding light heating up my face. Really couldn't see anything at all. After a moment of getting my bearings, I realized the light was coming out of Miss Rainsong. But more correctly, it was the sun reflecting off of her and into my face. She was propped up in the row across from mine, in a window seat no less, basking in the midday sun. I must have been out for at least 10 hours. So I didn't even know what time zone we was in. And I was both dying of thirst and needed to piss like a racehorse. Wasn't sure which one needed fixing more. Drinking water went out of her, passing it on account of the fact that the lavatory was occupied. So I made my way to the cafe car. It was empty, except for these two Amtrak brothers. This beanpole cafe car attendant was with one of the conductors. A grizzly bear of a man who must have had to do quite a bit of negotiating to squeeze himself into the booth across the table from the other one. Hey, I need some water from the tap behind the counter there. Two of them look up at me and burst out laughing. I must have looked like an unmade bed. Grizzly bear says, "Rough night, son. Carl, could you please get this gentleman a cup of water? Have a seat, son." Now, you can imagine I'm not the sort to fraternize with folks wearing uniforms, and not just in the law enforcement ilk neither. In my experience, the less actual authority the uniform bestows on an individual, the more weight that individual throws around in exercising that authority, if you know what I mean. Maybe it was his open-handed gesture, and the way he said son, not the "hey boy" sort of son, but the "my son" sort of son. But against my better judgment, I sat myself down across from him. Carl comes back with the water and some coffee too, saying, "You look like you could do with a pick-me-up," and sits himself down next to me. So now I'm trapped, and I can feel my blood pressure rising. I managed to thank him before gulping down the water. Then Grizzly says, offers me a piece of his wife's world-famous coffee cake. When I decline, he says, "Come on, boy, you know you're starving. You think I'd steer you wrong? Look at me and say I don't know a thing or two about coffee cake." Carl says, "Coffee cake, shoot. Any cake. Pies, cookies, pudding. Old man here, he you could sniff out the best hole in the wall for dessert 100 miles from the nearest train stop. So now I feel pretty much obligated to have some, seeing as they got me trapped in here. I say I'll have a bite, then proceed to polish off the entire pan before I can even take a breath. Right about then, my bladder chimes in to remind me that I transitioned from gotta pee to gonna pee. So I started to excuse myself. The grizzly just goes,
Carl, would you say that each new traveler seems even more lost than the last one?
I sure would, man. I sure would.
You have no idea what you're in for, do you, son?
No, I just came to get some water and use the facilities. Now, if you don't mind,
Well, hold on there, man. Aren't you just the least bit curious about your traveling companion?
mister, you must have got me confused with somebody else. I'm traveling by myself.
You mean you're not with Miss Rainsong?
Now wait there. You talking about that guitar? Oh, no. That guitar don't belong to me. I'm just watching out for its rightful owner. Young man, Miss Isabella Rainsong does not have an owner. According to my reading of U.S. history, slavery was abolished in this country under the Lincoln administration. What you are is Miss Rainsong's traveling companion. I have no idea what y'all talking about, but I gotta go right now. And I jumped right out of that booth, right over the table, and made a beeline for the bathroom. I'm busting ready to bust myself, but there. Any of you fellas know what stage fright is? You know the men's room sort of stage fright where you're standing there at the urinal in line with a bunch of other fellas and you just can't seem to, let it go, no matter how bad you gotta go. Now, I know it doesn't happen to you, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So as soon as I slid that door shut, that brain's, there's a spot in your brain, I guess, that's in charge of deciding when the coast is clear and you can relax enough to take a leak. And as soon as I slid that door shut, that brain spot blew the whistle, and all them muscles I've been exercising for the last half hour went out for a smoke break. But relief was just a foot away in the form of a beautiful stainless steel bowl. But I'll be damned if I can't get these buttons loose. The jeans I'm wearing are pretty snug, so try as I might, I can't even shimmy them down. I'm yelling, hold your fire! Stop the presses! Houston, we have a problem! But that damn brain spot just kept shouting, full steam ahead! If you've been a drugged out, drunken loser as long as I have, you'd have found yourself sleeping in your own piss and vomit plenty of times. The thing is, in your mind, it ain't humiliating as much as it is infuriating. It's as though some other fella came and pissed and hurled all over you. You blame everybody but the somebody who is to blame. But as I looked down, saw my faded jeans turning dark blue, all I felt was shame. A deep, abiding shame. And then for the first time in God knows how long, I started into crying. And kind of like that other week, once I started into crying, I just couldn't seem to stop. I must have been in there for a good 10 minutes when I feel this big old hand on my shoulder. Finally lift up my head and see my sorry side of myself in the mirror. Stinking, strung out, looking like death warmed over.
Take a good long look, son. Where you're standing right now, rock bottom. Things will get better from here, I can promise you that. Miss Rainsong will take care of your soul. Me and the crew will take care of the rest. All you gotta do is go along for the ride. Keep yourself open to the experience. You think you can handle that? I didn't even think I had enough left in me to take another breath, let alone live another day. I exhaled something approximating a moan. I'll take that as a yes. Now, we're about to pull into the station. Why don't you take a few minutes to splash some water on your face? Carl will get Miss Rainsong for you. Then we'll hand you off to Miss Jenkins, the station master. She'll set you up with a place to rest a while before you get on your way. As Grizzly goes to leave me alone with my poor excuse of a human being, he says, you know, picking up Miss Rainsong in that ticket, it's kind of like winning the lottery, son. So how's it feel to be the luckiest man alive?
Wow.
It's as though he knew about that carnival dream from the night before. I stood there, shaking like a newborn cow, and being about as far from feeling like the luckiest man alive as Tuscaloosa is from Timbuktu. Whatever spark was left in my soul, somewhere hidden so deep in the dark, I'd never even known it was there. Somehow it resonated with what he was saying. And despite every piece of evidence to the contrary, my soul knew he was right. And that I just needed to let go and give in to whatever was happening to me. And then, for the first time in my whole life, I felt an entirely new emotion. One I can only describe as, what do you got to lose hope?
Can it be true? Can it really be you? You who's come to save me. Save me from me. Is there a chance? Could it be this circumstance has the power to unchain me and set me free? Could it be? Do I dare believe there is anything inside me worth pulling from the flame? Can you see something I can't see in me? Something I'm supposed to be? A future I could claim? It can't be true. Could it be true? Will it be true? I guess I'll have to trust you.
Attention all you Amtrak customers waiting to get moving again on Amtrak number 31. This storm seems to be just sitting between us and Harper's Ferry, and there's still some power lines down along the route. All we got up here is heavy rain, but the weather service is saying we ought to just sit tight, so I suggest you all make yourselves comfortable and settle in for a wait. Our coffee maker's busted right now, but the water fountain puts out even better water than you'll find in them bottles and them vending machines. They don't call it Berkeley Springs for nothing. And there's respectable coffee at the bus stop up the road if you really need it, but I'll warn you, it's pretty nasty out there. In any case, don't go wandering off too far. Thank you for riding Amtrak.
I guess between recounting those darkest of days and all the station masters talk of coffee, rain, water fountains. Well, let's just say I've learned my lesson about not waiting too long to answer nature's call. You don't mind, I'm going to excuse myself for a minute. When I come back, I'll tell y'all what happened next. That is, y'all still want to listen. Good to know that listening to our song ran somewhere above being huddled outside in the driving rain. Even so, if y'all got something you'd rather be doing, just say the word and I'll let you ride out the storm in peace. All right. Yeah. Let's get back to it. Let's see now. Where was I? Oh yeah. Rock bottom. We'll just let the curtain of civility descend on what transpired over the next few days in that tiny little room in the back of the train station. Actually, I don't even know exactly how long it was. Might have been a week or more, long enough anyway for my poor excuse of a beard to start growing in. It turns out I needed some time to flush out all the stuff I've been smoking, snorting, shooting into my body for the last umpteen years. I was a shameful mess. I was grateful that the distance between the bed and the shower and the John was no more than 10 steps total. Still, I got through the worst of it and was eventually clear-headed enough to notice a clean set of clothes had been laid out for me. I wandered around until I found a break room where there were some Amtrak folks drinking coffee and shooting the bull. It's clear when they laid odds on me that some of them had money on me coming out of that room in a pine box. Actually, I think some of them needed convincing that I wasn't still some undead zombie, because the first thing they did was they shipped me off to a doctor, and I got injected and inspected and all kinds of horrible and nasty things. And then the doctor shipped me off to a dentist to start the process of swapping out my drug-rotted teeth for a new pair of choppers. Then, after they had me clean out my little rehab unit, they sent me on my way on the Texas Eagle to Chicago. Me and Miss Rainsong, we've been on our way ever since. Though the to-where part of the whole deal took the longest time of all to figure out. I wasn't sure exactly at first how this whole thing was supposed to work, but after a while I got to know the drill. I took care of Miss Rainsong. The Amtrak folks took care of me. More or less. I mean, it wasn't like I was a VIP or nothing. I wasn't a prisoner either. I was free to come and go. Could take any train I wanted. Hang out at the station. Wander around the towns where we stopped. If I needed something to eat, I'd just go to the cafe car. Or sometimes one of the conductors would pack a little something extra for me. When I needed a shower, I'd just stop at the station. Station master would point me to a place to wash up. Be a clean set of clothes waiting for me when I got out. Nothing fancy, just pants, shirt, underclothes, jacket or coat if I needed it. And they don't fit well enough. And it wasn't like some big mysterious thing either. More like part of the logistics of making the trains go. You know, it was somebody's job to refill the paper towel dispensers in the train's bathrooms. Somebody else's job to make sure I had a clean set of clothes when I got out of the shower. Most of them treated me about like you would a paper towel dispenser too. Not particularly mean, but not nice neither. I was just one more part of the system they had to make sure it kept on working, and that was that. So, besides eating, sleeping, getting a little exercise, all I had to do was take care of Miss Rainsong. I did my best to keep her comfortable, you know, propped up in the window seat like she likes it. I also sort of acted like a celebrity bodyguard. You know, people were coming on and off the train all the time, sometimes for little, you know, short trips, other times for days on end. Pretty much everybody who laid eyes on Miss Rainsong was drawn to her, mesmerized by her even. Not everybody, though. Some folks were too caught up in themselves or their work to notice her, which is kind of a shame. Then, there was this one woman. She was neither drawn nor none to Miss Rainsong. She seemed transfixed on her. But more like somebody who comes upon some horrific accident and just can't seem to look away. The longer she looked, the longer her face got. It took me a while, but I finally got her to tell me her story. Annie Mae, look and see. Tammy rushes in to tell her, you won't believe it. It's caller number 43. Front row seats, limousine, a full-size color poster. I can't believe it, this is really happening to me. It's like a dream we finally get to hear. The country entertainer of the year. But there is something Tammy doesn't know. Annie Mae was with him back when he was just an average Joe. She used to be his inspiration. Every song was a love note just for her. They shared their dreams when dreams were all they had. Now he's finally made his move up to the big time.
music scene. She'd sit back so she could hear him play and pour his heart out on the music stage. He'd sing to her like no one else was there. If people saw their love, she didn't care. She used to be his inspiration. Every song was a love note just for her. They shared their dreams when dreams were all they had. Now he's finally made his move up to the big time. He reached the moon, but he left her back behind. Now she's just another fan in the crowd. He takes the stage and from the screaming crowd it's plain to see this country superstar is every woman's fantasy. They shout his name together as the house lights dim. They would give anything to be with him. Final song, single spot. He sings a tender ballad, just him and his guitar, like those days so long ago. Suddenly he sees her in the crowd. He stops his song and calls her name out loud. He sings to her like no one else is there. If people see their love, she doesn't care. You alright? You're in a trance or something. The concert's over. The limo's here to take us home. A single tear falls down on Annie's cheek. She barely whispers as she tries to speak. I have to tell you something you don't know. We were together back when he was just an average Joe. I used to be his inspiration. Every song was a love note just for me. We shared our dreams when dreams were all we had. Now he's finally made his move up to the big time. He reached the moon, but he left me back behind. Now I'm just another fan in the crowd. She used to be his inspiration. Now she's just another fan in the crowd. Now I suppose you could call that a love song, although kind of a dark one. I'm the last person to ask about how love's supposed to work. I mean, this Rainsong here, this is the first thing I ever even knew how to take care of, let alone had a clue about how to love. But love between two people? Man, I got no clue. You know, I was on the Isabella train, you know, that fancy train that goes from Washington, D.C. to Boston, and I got to talking to this scientist, professor somebody, who was doing research in the chemistry of love. Not like metaphorical chemistry as in they had great chemistry together. I mean like actual in your brain kind of chemistry. The way he told it, Cupid's got nothing to do with it. Got this funny feeling coming over me. Feeling a little woozy, sort of weak in the knee. It's got me wondering, is this love that I'm feeling? The science fan says you got it all wrong. It isn't love that's making your heart beat so strong. It's a genetic condition, a will decide if she turns you on. It's as predictable as counting the toes on your feet. It's a statistical certainty your heart skips a beat. It isn't love that you're feeling, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, those ruby red lips looking so fine. They're just a marker, an external sign of a healthy condition of adequate nutrition. And that curve on your body driving me wild is telling me you're capable of having my child to enhance propagation of the human population. And that wry sense of humor that's blowing my mind means your intellect will get us out of a bind. Escape a fire or a saber-toothed tiger. Oh, can this be love this way I feel? Conditioning makes the emotion so real. But now I understand the mystery's gone. The chain reaction when our eyes meet, it's a synaptic connection. The circuit's complete. It isn't love that we're feeling, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, it's really just a chemical bond. Oh yeah, it's just a chemical bond. You know, I've been sharing all these songs with you like I've been singing them my whole life. The actual truth of the matter is something else entirely. Those first few months on the train, I took care of Miss Rainsong all right, but I never played her. I was just so tied up with her as a physical thing, you know, the way she looked and felt in my arms. And finally, one of the conductors pulls me aside one day and says, "She needs to be played every day, just like a Jersey cow needs to be milked." She must be pretty heavy laden with song by now. I know you're going to think I'm a total idiot when I admit this, but right up to that moment on the train, the thought of playing this Rainsong never even crossed my mind. I never even wondered what she sounded like. To me, it would have been like strumming a suitcase or plucking a statue. I was so tied to her as a physical thing, the way she looked and felt in my arms. Truth is, like I said before, I didn't know a thing one about music or guitars or music or anything. Truth is, I hadn't even sung a note or as much as tapped out a beat with my fingers since I was about 4 years old. One day back then, I come home from my next door neighbors. I've been playing schoolhouse with one of my little friends. And his older sister was the teacher, and she taught us the ABC song. I come home all proud of myself, singing real loud. My daddy said I sounded like a howling alley cat, and a sick one at that. So I sang louder. A, B, C, D, E, F, G! You'll be a dickhead if you don't shut the fuck up! So I had the scar, courtesy of dear old dad, chucking his half-full beer can right at my head. I'd show him, I thought. Next week at his birthday, I refused to sing the happy birthday song. And just to prove the point, I never sang again. Not a single note.
sort of forgot all about what started it, right up to that moment on the train. And the memory of it hit me right between the eyes. Now, I'm not trying to make any excuses for the poor excuse of the human being I've been most all my life, but I do look back on days like that one and other similar episodes involving my father, of which there were thankfully precious few, as he was not exactly an involved parent. And I can see how they set me on a path to nowhere good. Of course, I had some good examples too. Every once in a while there'd be a coach or a teacher or a neighbor who'd sort of take me under their wing for a spell. I don't know why, maybe because they saw what kind of predicament I was in at home. They'd do what they could, and I'd inevitably end up disappointing them by doing something stupid and mean. I guess I was an angry kid. But I do appreciate the effort they made to show me a different way of treating people. So whenever I see a parent mistreating their kid on the train, lashing out at them or talking to them like they're not even human beings, let alone their own flesh and blood, I do what I can to point them in a different direction. With a smile, or a story, or a song. I like to think maybe I made just a little difference in one of them little ones' lives. Though I'll never really know for sure. Do you remember me? Probably not. Think about you quite a lot. Wondering how time has been treating you. All the big adventures you've been through. You needed a hand, I gave you a boost. Held you for a moment, then cut you loose. Sent you right into the big bad world. Though the time we shared was just a moment or two, you're in my heart, and I wish for you. Green grass between your toes, cool drinks from the water hose, fields and fireflies at night, lazy days, summers and water gun fights, candy canes and homemade pies, silly songs and lullabies. But most of all, when I look to the stars above, baby child, pray you find love. Years have passed, time's ticking away, getting older day by day. Every year becomes bigger unknown. So now every time you cross my mind, I send out a wish. It hopes you'll find secrets only your best friend knows. Swapping notes in the back two rows, playing that piano piece just right. First kiss on the perfect night, scoring that last minute soccer goal, homecoming dances and honor roll. And every time I look to the stars above, baby child, I pray you find love. And someday I hope you find someone to care for too, 'cause the best sort of wish is the kind that you pass on through. And you can wish someone green grass between your toes, cool drinks from the water hose, fields and fireflies at night, lazy days, summers and water gun fights, candy canes and homemade pies, silly songs and lullabies. But most of all, when I look to the stars above, baby child, baby child, baby child, I pray you find love. for them. And what a way to see America. And I've seen all kinds of great examples of parenting. Like this one goofball of a guy whose little boy would let out this totally infectious giggle every time his daddy did something funny. When the conductor comes by, the little boy says, "My daddy is the king of all the daddies." Made me smile. So we gave them this song. Since early days, I've tried to find ways to fit in with the happening crew. But whatever my plot, cool I was not, didn't matter what I do. I was always on the outside, every day just another blow to my pride. And to tell the truth, I was a total goof, it's true. Fast forward to now, and I'll tell you how this big daddy came to rule. I was king of the sun, but was nearly undone by sippy cups, diapers, and drool. But as my boy began to grow, in time I came to know, to my surprise, in his eyes I'm cool. Because I can blow bubbles, and I can juggle 3 balls. I can whip a snack, let it ride on my back. I even let him scribble on the bathtub walls. I can laugh like Tigger, woo-hoo-hoo, make a splash like pool. To the rest of the crowd, I ain't too proud to admit I play the fool. But to my son, I'm the king of fun, 'cause I'm a daddy kind of cool. Now every day, most every way, we stick together like glue. And after a snap, he gets up on my lap when it's time to watch Winnie the Pooh. He thinks that I'm a rock star when he sees me strumming on my guitar. And we're having a cat with a jungle book scat like a Louie and Baloo. Hey! It's about that no day. I'll do that roll. Zin, some new days, bones to do the day. So bones about body. Hallelujah. With 3 5 lines ahead of the door with a lambazini. Bubble it up, do it up, sing it up, do it. Hoo-hoo-hee. And so you see, you must be like me. And though it's clear to everyone here, really ain't quite the fool. So I can't recall a single Beatles song I can name every wiggle and sing along. At least for a while he's into my style. I'm as happy as they get with the tricycle set. I said to my son, I'm the king of fun, 'cause I'm a daddy, kind of cool. I'm a daddy, kind of cool. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da. You know, it's funny how you don't know you're missing something when you don't know it's something you're supposed to have. Kind of like a 3-legged hound dog running around like it has 4. That is, until someone points it out to you. Then all of a sudden it's all you can think about. I guess that's what them folks on Madison Avenue do to make all that money. They get you thinking you just gotta have something you never even knew existed before.
No.
So what that conductor said about Miss Rainsong being all heavy laden with song and all, sort of grabbed me. And all of a sudden I went from decades of not giving a lick about music to being all obsessed with wanting to know what Miss Rainsong sounded like. What I sounded like, for that matter. But I didn't want to hear it for the very first time on the train. Something told me it was going to be a pretty important moment. So I got off the next stop and walked around till we could find a place so we could spend some time alone. We ended up in the cemetery, way up on a hill overlooking the train yard. It was one of those perfect nights, the second coming sunset, where the clouds are all puffy and the beams of light are shooting through, and the air is just magical. So when the time was just right, I took Miss Rainsong in my arms and in the best way I could figure on the right way to hold her. As much as I had been moved the first time I laid eyes on her, hearing Miss Rainsong's voice completely did me in.
explain how it was I was able to play, other than it wasn't really me playing, it was Miss Rainsong singing, and connecting my fingers to her voice. She showed me how to find new voices by turning them little tuning pegs. Then she showed me how to use that little letter holder capo thing. All the while, I kept thinking about the last couple months, Miss Rainsong. How she'd become so much more than my traveling companion. Now, she was my best friend, my lover, my therapist, my dance partner, all wrapped up in one black beauty. And then, it just sort of came out of me. I could spend all my days in a deep navel gaze to find where life's mysteries lay, or ascend a high mountain in search of a fountain to wash all my worries away. I could learn how to meditate in a hypnotic state and find healing in the results. Let down my hair in a therapist's chair and finally reveal all my foibles and faults. Or perhaps I'll just learn how to waltz. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, gliding so easily, floating like Fred Astaire, lighter than air. And it's left side closed, back side closed, round and round, so it goes, filling the room with enchanting romance. As for me, I just like to dance. I envision a place beyond time and space. My wishes transcend circumstance. In my Neverland dream, love reigns supreme, and every lost hope gets its own second chance. It could happen if we all join the dance. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, gliding so easily, floating like Fred Astaire, lighter than air. And it's left side closed, back side closed, round and round, so it goes, filling the room with enchanting romance. As for me, I just like to dance, dancing with never a care, lost in the rise and the fall, dancing wherever I dare, free from all worries, no fears to recall, free from my brokenness, free from it all. And it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, gliding so easily, floating like Fred Astaire, lighter than air. And it's left side closed, back side closed, round and round, so it goes, filling the room with enchanting romance. As for me, I just like to dance. The floor can be yours if you'll just take the chance.
Rainsong really began. I mean, before, taking care of Miss Rainsong was a job. Not a chore exactly, because it wasn't particularly hard. But now that we would sing together, even more than before, people were drawn to Miss Rainsong like a moth to a flame. Like they wanted to be close to her. And they'd end up talking to me. Not just idle chit-chat either. No, they'd pour out their life stories and ask her for advice. And I'd be sitting there taking it all in and wondering what she was going to say, what was going to happen next. And then...
Excuse me, folks. I need your attention for just a minute. It's looking like there's going to be a while before we can get you back on the number 31. So we can get you all to Petersburg. Yeah, the storm is easing up here a bit, but it's still causing quite a ruckus to the southwest of us. They're saying an hour, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was a 2 or 3. If you're planning on going as far as Wapotomo or Romney, West Virginia, there is a local bus service leaving in about 45 minutes out of the terminal just up the road. I just called and confirmed they're still operating, so you may want to consider that option if it suits you. Otherwise, we'll keep you warm and dry here until we're on our way again. Thank you for your patience.
Well now, I reckon I'll be better off taking the bus from here. Probably get me closer to where I'm going anyhow. You know, I got so caught up sharing all these stories and songs with you, I never did tell you why I was heading this way in the first place. There's so much more to share, but I better just cut to the chase and not leave you hanging. So I'll tell you now before I go. It's about a month ago, I guess, when everything changed. I was way out on the Zephyr line near Elko, Nevada. I'd taken to sleeping out under the stars whenever the weather was favorable. You know, sleeping on the train every night could do a number on your back. So I'd stop at one of the smaller stations, borrow a blanket from the station master, fill up my canteen here, my only possession besides these here clothes and a polishing rag, and we'd hike out in the middle of nowhere, watch the night sky put on a show. Ain't nothing like it. All those lights, a million billion, who could ever count them all? Another night, just a speck in the darkness, all that space makes you feel so small. A flash of light, and suddenly everything is brighter than the brightest day. An angel in white fills up the sky. He calls my name and I hear him say, go to Bessie's Pub and Coffee Shop before Starbucks or IHOP. You help to keep them open. I'm worried that their sales will drop from the big boys taking over, pushing out the moms and pops, popping up on every corner. They're multiplying. Has to stop. Serving waffles around the block. Half lattes on every block. They're trying to make you think you're cool, all while playing you for the fool by charging you $5 for a cup of Joe. No, you go. Go to Bessie's, where they're serving up happiness by the slice, and the fairest coffee at any price. And you know that those smiles they show are never fake. And sure, there's still those other shops or stops you'll have to make. But pack your bags and go today to see those good folks in FACMImimi. Pack your bags and go today to see those good folks in FACMImimi. Pack your bags and go today to see those good folks in FACMImimi. Pack your bags and go today. to go somewhere, I, for one, am not one to argue. At least not anymore. I suppose there was a time when I might have just told him off, but now I was ready for him. Or at least as ready as I figured I'll ever be. These last few years, I've been on a journey all across America, courtesy of Amtrak, with no aim or end other than to clear my head and open my heart to whatever comes along. And now, for the first time since I started riding with Miss Rainsong, I have a place to be, a destination, maybe even a destiny. I really have no idea, but things are definitely going to change. So like I said, Angel says go, I say yes sir right away, sir. And while it is not my custom to make disparaging remarks about angelical messengers or nothing, I do have a bit of a bone to pick about this particular message from this particular messenger. Because while he was quite specific about the establishment I was to patronize, Blessy May's Pine Coffee Shop, that was crystal clear. And if I didn't catch it that first night, I sure caught it every night since when he's invaded my dreams to say it all over again. But this particular angel never bothered making mention of the geographical location of this here coffee shop. Not town, state, train line, time zone, nothing. So I started asking folks, lots of folks, pretty much everybody I came along. Excuse me, ma'am, you know where I can find Blessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop? Sorry to bother you, sir. You ever heard of Blessy May? She sells pies and coffees in her shop. Somebody, anybody, you know Blessy May? I gotta find Blessy May! Between frantically asking people about Blessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop all day long and being badgered by Mr. Insistent Angel all night long, I was strung out and certifiable for sure. That was until about 3 days ago. I was doing my usual Inquisition march through the train, asking everybody about Blessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop when I got to the cafe car, and I heard a familiar voice. Why, son, you look like you could do with a piece of my wife's world-famous coffee cake. It was old Grizzly, but I didn't recognize him at first, so I just snapped, coffee cake? I don't need no coffee cake, I need pie, not cake. More specifically, pie from Blessy May's Pie and Coffee Shop. I don't suppose you ever heard of it, and just started walking away. Heard of it? Why, I never miss a chance to visit when I'm running the Potomac Eagle line down to Petersburg, West Virginia. It's a decent haul off the line. You gotta take a bus in Romney and then you gotta walk a spell. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Little speck of a town, Giddy Bend, West Virginia. But I'm telling you, it is worth the effort. Best paw pie I ever had. And I have sampled more than my fair share, I can assure you, son. Once what he was saying sunk in, I gave old Grizzly the biggest bear hug I could muster, and did enjoy a piece of his wife's coffee cake. Then I got him to tell me exactly how to find this place, and we mapped out a plan to get there as soon as physically possible. I was way out on the Empire Builder line, near Fargo, North Dakota at that point, so it took me a while to make it to this point. Along the way, all the conductors and engineers, they seemed to know that my journey was going through a transition. Because all of a sudden, they wanted to shake my hand and wish me luck and offer me a piece of advice. Even that old geezer from the very first night with them hoot allies wished me luck. First time any of them paid more attention to me than Miss Rainsong. Then this morning, when we stopped in Washington, D.C. to swap out the crew, there was this whole hullabaloo up on the platform. I figured it was just for some VIP or politician or something. But then one of them comes in and tells me I got to get out there right now because it's for me. I didn't know what to think about this, but there are people all over the place. The executives in their suits and all the station masters from all over the place and crew members, and they're all clapping for me. I didn't know what to make of it. Then one of the suits hands me an envelope. Says they took up a little collection to get me started on the next leg of my journey. Then the station master hands me a pen and says I have to sign for Miss Rainsong. I say, well sure, where do I sign? He points to Miss Rainsong. I wasn't sure at first, but then I realized I was supposed to sign her. So I lifted her up and looked around a while until I found a nice spot. She rubs up against my heart. I signed her. Only
The pen didn't seem to work. Station master said it was fine. And then one of the other guys hands me my old clothes, all folded up and laundered. At least as laundered as they could get them. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just burn them. Felt mighty strange pulling on these old jeans and boots again. It's like I was putting on the skin of a stranger I did not care to know. But after a while, I realized I was still the same man. Definitely a changed man, and not a man defined by the transgressions of his past. Just a traveler on a journey. Only now, I know how to share that journey with another. That other happened to be a guitar, a remarkable and beautiful soul in her own right. A soul I would be forever grateful for having met. I'm grateful for all y'all letting me and Miss Rainsong share our story. I guess it is kind of an amazing tale when you put it all together like this. What happens next? I don't know. I guess I go to Bessie Mae's and get a piece of pie and a cup of joe. Maybe it fades to black. Maybe it's the beginning of a whole other story. But if there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it's that what matters is this moment, right here and now. And I'm so grateful that I would share it with all of you. You mind me, Miss Rainsong, singing one more song before I go? Thank you so very much. Longing for magical moments, moments that never last long. No sooner you find one's upon you, it's over and gone. Living on magical moments helps you the unknowns. Just when you're thinking the curtain will close, you breathe life into this old bag of bones, and not the chemical kind. Blow through your mind, leave you in pain when they're through. They're gentle and pure, subtle yet sure. Make life worth living when you can enter the moment. Leaning on magical feelings, feelings that finish too fast. You find yourself searching for something to make feelings last. Listening for magical meanings and unlock the mysteries within. As if when you find out the secret, the answers unfold and life can begin. But you can't force a moment, won't be cajoled. No elusive elixir makes moments unfold. When your soul is at peace and and you're looking away, the magic will find you, the moment will stay. You can see it inside your one true love's eyes. In strangers, good morning, a baby's soft cries. You never can know when a moment will show. When your heart's ready, moments will flow. So forget your agenda, drop your guard, let go and surrender. It's really not hard, simply set yourself free and fear flies away. And give in to the magical moments that happen each day. Just think how this old world would be if we all lived this way. Just think how this old world would be if we all loved this way.
Your attention, please. Would the traveling companion of Miss Isabella Rainsong please meet her in the passenger waiting